Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Pamela R Haynes here, bringing you the last episode in the current season of the podcast. Special thanks once again to the station managers at East London Radio, Pam Tango Radio, UK246.com, and LWR Talk. Vote of thanks to my sponsors, Dalgety Herbal Teas. Thank you for your support and thank you for your amazing teas. And to you, my beautiful listeners, those of you who have been tuning into the show from the beginning and to our new listeners from around the globe, I appreciate every one of you. If you are a self-published author and you would like to appear on the show, please contact me by email at author2author@gmail.com. That's author followed by the number 2, author@gmail.com. Attach your bio and I will be in touch, adding your name to the list of authors for season 6 and season 7 of the podcast. In this week's episode, it was my pleasure to interview a star, Mr. General Levy. We had a natter about his new book, Incredible. Let's sashay into his interview now. See you on the other side. Thank you so much for joining me on the Author to Author podcast. It's great to finally speak to you. What I did while you were away in sunny Brazil was to read your book on Kindle.
Okay.
Yes, so for the purpose of this interview, what I wanted to know was, where are you from? Where are you based now? And in terms of your heritage, which place relates to you the most?
Okay. Well, I'm born in London, in the UK, in London, in a place called Harlesden, in 1971. I was raised by my mum, not my father, not my biological father, but my mum. She's from the islands. I don't know if you know Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. I was going to ask you, have you been before?
How you mean? I've been many times. But you know how it is when you're young. Your mum takes you there every year. So I had to go to Trinidad and Tobago as a youngster, going to the carnivals and stuff like that.
What's your fondest memory of traveling to Trinidad?
My fondest memory would be Queen's Park Savannah, the carnival. You know that's where they kind of centralized the carnival. And also, I used to roller skate. I used to really be when I was young, 7, 8, 9. I used to really be into roller skating. When I went to Trinidad with my mom, one of the times I took my skates and I was able to skate all around Trinidad and in the park and stuff. That's one of my fondest memories. Also, a fond memory of Trinidad was at nighttime. My family, we went out and we went fishing, and I remember we went fishing and we caught fish, and one of my uncles made a fish broth. But I thought that was amazing. You know, we actually went fishing. All of us went out late night, went out and went fishing, and we caught the fish, and we had that kind of barbecue by the beach.
Oh, what a fantastic memory.
Yeah, I just thought of that actually. I've actually forgot about that. But I remember the broth. It was amazing. Yeah. I think he used the car wheel to make the pot. You know, like to make the thing to you know the grill. You know, it was like
yes.
It was really homemade, really DIY thing.
So you've just come back from Brazil. How was it? And have you been to Brazil before?
Yes, I just came back from Brazil, and my other half, my missus, she's from Brazil. So we've been to Brazil we've been together for 7, 8 years now. So we've been nearly every year, but I said we've been about 5 times. I've been about 4 or 5 times, but I went before I was with her. I went to do shows. So I would say I've been to Brazil quite a few times, you know, once, twice, 3, about 7 times I've been to Brazil.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. What other exciting places have you traveled to?
Obviously, I've been to Jamaica. I like that. Jamaica was nice. I like America. I like Cuba. I love Cuba. Very fascinating place. Like you go back into a time machine. You could go back 40 years in Cuba. Bermuda. I've been to Japan. I've been to Singapore. Been to Dubai. Obviously, the whole of Europe, France, Germany, Switzerland, Austria. I've been virtually everywhere. I've been to Iceland. I've been to Tanzania. I've been to Australia.
Oh, wow.
Big fan base in Australia. quite bizarre how Australia know everything what's going on in England. It's like they're England's their parent. Anything what happens in England is straight to
Mm.
Australia.
My brothers live there. They live in Brisbane.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have yet to go there, but I will do one day. But where would you like to
5 day.
go to?
Where would I like to go to? I would like to go back into America because I'm banned at the moment. Sorry about that. I'm losing
Really?
visa. We lose my visa.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, okay, okay.
I was
Let's
going
leave
from
that there.
going from Brazil, and then what it was, we didn't get a chance to do the paperwork. But I was supposed to get a work permit. But I was actually under an umbrella of a band, but I didn't realize I was actually under that umbrella. I thought I had an individual work permit. So I was in the airport pushing my argument that I'm General Levy and the work permit. They didn't have anything on the thing, but I wasn't in communication with the band members of a band because I was coming in from Brazil. So I wasn't briefed properly, and I gave the wrong information, and I ended up getting deported. I later on found out that I was actually on an umbrella visa of a group visa. I didn't realize that at the time. Too late, and I'd been already been deported. Yeah, I'd like to go back in America because I like Florida, I like New York, I like Boston, and Texas. I'm in Texas as well. So
Oh, that's
that's
one. I really hope that that happens for you. I've got everything's
thank you.
crossed for you. So obviously your work takes you all over the world, but you're also very busy in the UK as well. You know, every time I follow you on social media, you're up the country, you're down the country, you're across the country. Does the traveling take its toll on you?
I hate traveling, but I like being at the venues. I like getting to the place, being at the place, but the actual process of going through airports and stuff and queues and just the whole confusion of the airport really does my head in. Unless we've got I like to find a fast track lane. If I've got a fast track, I can work with that. Yeah, the traveling is a bit of a headache, but it has to be done. It's work.
I saw recently that you gave away a copy of your book at one of your gigs. Well,
Yeah.
where was that and how did that come about?
Where was that? That was in Birmingham, and I was basically doing my show, and I said, if can anybody mimic my style, because I know my style. Incredible General.
Hmm.
Sensational. So I asked somebody if anybody in the crowd could mimic that style, and then I would give them a copy of my book. And a few people came up. I ain't gonna lie, a few of them were awful. A few of them were really, I couldn't work with it. But a particular guy, I think his name was Carl, he came through and he did it, man. He was like, he went in, energy, everything, full of energy and everything. So he won it. He won it hands down. And then I went across to the other side of the crowd, and there was a sister, a black lady, and she was going for it, man. And she didn't really do it that well, but because she tried her hardest, and as a sister, and it was like she was surrounded by real white people, and she did it. I hold it. You know what I mean? So you know what, sis? You get it. You get it. You get it. You get it. So I gave the sister a copy of the book as well. And she actually came back after and I signed it for her. So yeah. So I gave away 2 copies. That's how it happened. I basically did a competition at my show.
One of the last lines of your book, you said that, you know, it's not over yet, you know, there's more to come and, you
Yeah.
know, you're going to be happy for the rest of it. So why write a book now and not, say, in 10 years' time?
Because I had the opportunity to write now. I'm in a good space right now with the tools. If the tools are there, I was given the opportunity of being introduced to Storybook Terrace. They kind of help you to get your book together. So once I learned the guidelines of what you need to do to make a book, I thought it's a project. It's something that is it was a wonderful thing to do. Great idea. And now, because I'm in a good place, I think I've been through a few chapters and I've reached to a good place in my career where I can actually look back and say, wow, that was a ride, you know. And there's still more to come, obviously, but I would like to do it now. So at least if anything happens to me in the future, people have a body of work that I've actually told my story, because I've seen many artists who have passed away and their story's been told completely different from how they really were. So at least I thought I'd put down a body of work now. So if God forbid anything happens to me, I've got the first 50 years of my life put down, you know.
Oh, wow. Is it really 50 years? Of course,
I'm 50,
1971.
51. Yeah,
Yes.
51.
So tell me, were you self-published? Did you have a publisher? And what was that journey like?
I was actually self-published. I'm actually trying to do it with Storybook Terrace. They gave me a ghostwriter initially, but I wasn't happy with his passion about my. He was taking it for a joke. He was like, I was giving him stuff to write. He was bringing it back in a comedic fashion, like he was taking my life story for a joke. So I said, no, I think I better do this myself because, for instance, I would say something like, I would say I was on my way to a DJ competition and I was on the bus and I was really apprehensive. I was like really, really nervous. And then when he gets it, he'll send it back saying, oh, I was on my way to a DJ competition, sitting on the bus, and I was shitting myself. I said, no. It's not that. That's a bit, I can't let my daughter read them kind of thing there. You know, open up the book and see her daddy was on the bus shit. Because, you know, people could take, when you're writing the book, I want every word to be precise. I don't talk like that. I don't talk like I'm shitting myself. That's why people talk. I mean, when I really have to say it, like I was apprehensive, I was nervous.
Right.
And that's basically what it was an MC competition. So I didn't like the way how he was kind of belittling my argument and making me look like a bit of a comedian, a bit of a clown. I felt like, you know, sitting on the bus shitting myself. I just didn't like the way he was articulating my story because I didn't say that. So I said, let me take it back myself. And I rewrote the whole thing myself and let them just dot the I's and cross the T's.
Yeah, I mean, this way you get to hold the pen, you get to tell your story your way in your own words. I'm looking forward to the audio book as well. When is that likely to come out?
Well, anytime I want to, really. I've virtually finished it. I've done about 9 chapters. There's 15 chapters. It's all done, but I just need to edit it. I've got it all finished. All 15 chapters are finished, but I need to kind of, there's some words that I might stammer or I might take a breathing. I need to edit it, edit the vocal, but it's there. When I travel nowadays, like if I'm on a plane, I would edit some on the plane because, you know, plane rides are quite long nowadays. So I use my traveling time instead of being bored on the plane. Like when I went to Brazil, I did quite a lot of editing because it was a 9-hour flight. So I did quite a lot of editing. So that's why I did the videos in Brazil because I'd actually done the editing on the plane. So I've done a few more. I've been a bit lazy, to be honest. But I know it's there. So it's just down to me when I want to complete it. It's all done. Just need to edit. So I've edited up to 9 chapters now. So I need to edit another 6 chapters. I can do that anytime. I might even do it. I'm going to Amsterdam on the weekend. I might do it on the plane. I think I will. Yeah, on the plane. I'll do it on the plane. Edit maybe 2 chapters on the plane.
It's a double treat, not only to hear the story, but to hear from the author how the author intended as well. So I look forward to that. And I wouldn't call you lazy at all. You sound like you're doing more than one thing all the
Yeah.
time. But yeah, you need that quiet space, don't you, to do something like editing to make sure it's done properly.
Sometimes you've got bored times, like when you're on a plane, it's quite boring. So I find that anytime I'm bored nowadays, hey, let me edit my book. If I'm waiting for something, anywhere I am nowadays, that fills up my time. If I'm in a doctor's waiting area or I don't really go to doctors, but if I'm anywhere, if I'm waiting for my daughter to come out of school or she's doing her ballet, I might do a bit of editing while I'm there. So it's kind of like, it fills up my gaps, this book. It's kind of, yeah, it fills up my gaps.
Well, one thing I really liked about the book is that you finally get to set the records straight. Not that I was really aware of all what was happening behind the scenes, people cancelling you, people angry and cross about a comment that you were alleged to have said, and everything else. Was totally unaware of that because in the meantime, your fans are just enjoying the music. That's all they're really concerned about. But during that time, how important was your faith to you in terms of supporting you through all of those
Oh gosh,
challenges?
it took me closer to God because I tell you for something, when you go through this kind of a backlash over a statement you're supposed to have made, what surprised me the most was how many people were glad that I was going through this backlash. People that I thought would support me, people that I thought would say, "Oh, this is ridiculous." Who would I get support from? A few DJ Rap, a DJ called DJ Rap, DJ Elaine, a few female
Yeah.
DJs. Defended me, and a few people, David Rodigan defended me, and I mean publicly, not on the phone. I was quite disappointed in how many people really didn't. That I think God made me go through that to realize that you've really got to be independent. You can't rely on people, even when you're being vilified or being misquoted. I found that basically what I figured out was that I was a strong artist, and with me out the way would make it easier for a lot of other artists, a lot of other producers, a lot of other people. I was a problem. So when I got this controversy, it was like 2 birds in one stone, 2 birds for a lot of people. I wouldn't say, it wasn't in my face, but it's just the way how some people were able to just disrespect me in public and get away with it. And people who I know could have defended me or could have, because the street credibility is very important. And I've always been a kind of person who values my street credibility. And it was tested a lot through that time. You know, people would just would just coming at me. And because I was a reggae man, and I wasn't really into jungle, I wasn't feeling most of the backlash. I didn't really, some of the DJs around that were cussing me, but I didn't even know who they were. Basically, for lack of a better word, some little man that cussed me. I mean, I even know, you know, if it wasn't no man in the reggae team, Saxon, Cuxon, I mean, I really care about no little jungle man. They can say whatever they want. But after a while, it began to kind of affect bookings, where I wasn't getting bookings after a while. It began to affect the pocket, and it affected my relationships too. I had a relationship. I split up with my girlfriend basically over that whole controversy. She couldn't take it. She said she didn't sign up for this to be with a brother who everybody hates. You know what I mean? She really, you know, she didn't sign up for that. She signed up for the good time, having a good time. Next minute, everybody's saying, oh, he said this, he said that. I'm not working with him. And she was getting it from her friends. Her friends saying, why did he say it? Tell him to apologize. What's wrong with him? They're blowing this thing. I'm supposed to have said that I'm the king of the jungle, and I'm supposed to have said that I created jungle, which is a ridiculous thing. I don't produce. So it was something that was taken out of context and totally turned around. And a lot of people knew it was rubbish, because there's two things about this. When you're a sound man, there ain't nothing wrong with saying, yo, we're the best. We run things. That's a normal thing in sound system culture. We're the best, but we're the done. We run the place. It's no, okay, me too. Everybody say, yeah, me too. You know what I mean? It's no problem. I'm coming from that kind of culture, all right? And also, I said it in front of 2,000 people, which was like I was saying, we created this music. It's a UK thing. We've pushed this energy to become a great, great thing. But when you read it in a magazine, it's like I'm saying it to myself. I'm saying it to one person. I create, you know, they turned the we to I. And then that's where it kind of got twisted. So, and a lot of people took that as an opportunity to kind of bring me down, even if it wasn't true. It was like a way of getting me out. I was going very well at the time. I had a good profile. I had a record recording deal. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people around me, and I was doing well. And obviously, I was a bit hyped. I was very excited. I was very hyped at that time. You know, I must admit. But I think that statement was totally taken out of context, because I don't really speak like that. Me at the best. I me at the done. Only thing I've ever said is I'm incredible. Incredible. You know what I mean? In a song format. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But I would never really sit down with somebody and say, hey, I'm the king and I'm at the best and I'm me run this. I can't, that's not my style. I prefer to just do my work and let the people be the judge of my process. You know what I mean? So totally taken out of context. And it was God made me go through that for a good reason, because he wanted me to see what life really was, because I was in a bubble at that time. I was making money. I had people around me, and I hadn't really faced any kind of harshities really on the mainstream. And I think that when I went through that, getting cancelled, losing a lot of people around me, realizing who my real friends were, who was happy that I was going through this, who was really sad for me, it made me see what life is really about and what human nature. Because some people were scared to support me. It wasn't because they didn't like me, but because they didn't want to say anything which would affect their run-ins. I realized how scared people get. I could understand what Kanye West is going through. People want to support Kanye, but they can't, because if they say anything for him, they lose their job. The people stay like this. And this is what happened to me. Years, I was going through so much. 10, 15 years, I had to go to Europe, but in going to Europe, I made new friends who weren't interested in this stupid argument. They wanted to hear good music and see good artists. And that's what I was. So I spent 10, 15 years building up a big rapport in Europe, France, Germany. Basically, that whole controversy made me into an international superstar. They pushed me out into Europe, because if I stayed in England, I would have just been doing England, getting my money up West End, Birmingham, Manchester for 15, 20. And I wouldn't. And when they're ready to drop you, you would have no backbone. But now, if I have no shows in the UK, I can go Europe for a year and tour easily. I can go France for 3 months, go Germany for 3 months, go Italy, go Austria, go Japan. I have the whole fan base, Israel. fan base all over the place, so which has distinguished me from a lot of other artists, you know, and it's because of that song.
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many highlights that it will probably take another interview to go through with you. But to think that you almost didn't stick to your dream, because from what I've read, you were training at one point to be a legal executive. That
Oh
just feels
gosh,
so alien to the person that you actually became.
wow, you've read my book, you really have.
Yes, I have, and thoroughly enjoyed it.
I was doing working for a solicitors in St John's Wood, J.M. Friedman, and I was because what it was is that when I left school, everybody just thought, wow, what am I going to do, kind of stuff, you know, and I wanted to do music, but I knew that there wasn't really much support really from my mum, because you know your mum wouldn't really think it's going to really go that far. So
Mhm.
I said, in the meantime, I'm going to do something in the meantime just to show you that I'm not, I mean, I'm not whatless. So I went to the job center and I picked a really good job as an outdoor clerk. And basically, I went for the interview and I winged it. I winged the interview. I went into the interview, put on my best attire, best P's and Q's on that day. And I got the job. The lady liked me, and her husband his name was Jeremy Friedman. He liked me as well. And they had a few other people working in there. There's a small office in St John's Wood, and they gave me the job as an outdoor clerk, delivering affidavits and doing litigation. So if anybody had a case going on, I would be the one that would take the paperwork from the solicitors to the Royal Courts of Justice and push through the paperwork. I'd be like the witness and stuff. So that's what I was doing for like about 3 months. And then they wanted me to start coming in on Saturday mornings. And that's where the problem arose, because Friday nights was my time. I'm really young, I'm 17, 18, 19 these times. So I'm in my late teens. So definitely Friday night's important to me. So I had to really just I had to leave the job because I couldn't come in on the afternoons, and it was going to become a problem with them because they wanted me to come in, and I was saying I can't do it, and so it became kind of funny vibe in the air. So I just left, and when I left that job, I'd been recording. I think my first hit track, Heat, had just come out or was about to come out. So I was hoping that, when I leave this job now, I'm going to have a hit song and I'm not going to have to look back. And that's basically when I left that job, I never looked back on 9 to 5, went fully into the music 24/7. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And you mean you've had such an incredible career, reaching number 8 in the national charts and being on Top of the Pops as well, the very first junglist artist to be on Top of the Pops. And I remember that then when it came out, and I also watched it again last night on YouTube. Does it feel surreal that that happened?
Yeah, I mean, funny thing about it is the Top of the Pops thing occurred when I was actually, I was in Germany or something, I was come off a tour or something, and I was really tired, mash up. So you would think that when you're doing Top of the Pops, you can be on your peak of fitness and voice, everything was there, but I was actually really tired and mashed up. I'd been on the road for like 2 weeks, and then we got the call, we got to come in, the track is hit the charts. So I did Top of the Pops. For me, it was a landmark. It was a sign to me because Top of the Pops was the program that I grew up watching, and anybody that I saw on Top of the Pops was now an official star in my mind. Once you got Top of, how it was it was when Top of the Pops was like every week we watched that religiously. So to be actually on Top of the Pops, it's never been the same since in my mind. It really sealed something in my mind. Top of the Pops was important for me. I know it's a pop program. It's not really rag or dance or jungle, but as a statement, because when I was coming up, a lot of people didn't believe in me, even in my own community, with people around me and stuff. So to get the official co-sign from BBC Top of the Pops meant that certain people couldn't chat to me again. You couldn't come with that, couldn't make me feel that nothing ain't going on for me again. I've done Top of the Pops, and I needed that kind of co-sign because at that time there was lots of mind games going on. You need that kind of official stamp to say you've arrived, because otherwise you could be in on the high street in Harlesden, and people will still say, "Oh, what's your name again? Oh, Sweetie Irie? That, oh, what's your name?" know, the little mind games they do, you know, this kind of stuff. Make you say, wait, I've been doing this for so long and you still don't know my name. So when you get top of the pops, it shuts up all that kind of rubbish there. You can say, okay, I know what you're doing. All right, yeah. So this is what that's what it done for me. So I needed that established official co-sign. And also I got to meet Mariah Carey backstage. She was lovely, Mariah Carey. And also I got to, if I can say, I got to smoke a spliff with Sinead O'Connor. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, by far for me, for reading the book, it also felt like another milestone to meet Buju Banton
Oh,
and
wow.
for him to give you a compliment, on
Yeah.
the jewelry that you were wearing, your ring that you were wearing. It must feel, that he's one of the people that I would really like to see in person.
This is good, man, because this is real things that happened to me. And it's like, I was in Jamaica and we were in Penthouse Studios, Slipe Road, and we were waiting for the engineer to come. And, there's this tall, skinny guy there waiting as well, And I said, wait, that's Buju. And I said, yeah, that's Buju Banton. I said, what do you mean, that's Buju Banton? Imagine that, you know what I mean? So we're there now, me, Robbo, and Junior Dan. We're chatting with this free talking, everything blessed, I'm sensed that I had a ring. My ring it was a pound sign in gold. In those days, I used to wear big sovereigns and stuff. And I had a kind of sovereign with a pound sign shape around the sovereign. So you got the sovereign and then you got the pound shape. My baby mother did buy it for me, Michelle. So I was wearing that ring, and he said to me, "What? I love that ring there. Where you get that ring there?" I said, "Yo, man, Buju, man, this is nothing. When you come to Europe and England, you're gonna have this all over your hand and more." And he just said, yo, it loved that talk there, And it was just the fact of meeting him and seeing him perform live at Prison Oval. It was just like, and hearing all the tunes that I love playing on my tape and hearing on the radio, and just to see these guys do it live. That Jamaica experience was definitely a turning point for me, because I had to go to the heart of the matter, because I grew up in London and stuff. And even though I'm Trini heritage, but I had like my stepfather, or I call him dad. I didn't call him stepfather. He was so close. My dad, not my biological dad, but he was a Jamaican. So I always wanted to kind of go to where he came from, because he fascinated me. He was such a cool, calm. His meds, the way he used to kind of be. It was an extended family, and he was always like a wise man in our family, and he particularly looked after me. So I always loved him, and I loved. So that made me fall in love with Jamaica as well. You know what I mean? Because I want to know where this man come from, and the way how his view on the world. When I got into reggae, and I thought, yo, he's gonna love this, and I said, yo, what do you think? Bob Marley thing, and really, he was like, wow, I'm not really in a Bob Marley, It was Jim Reeves, and I come from, and Fat Stamina, He was a real elder, It was like, to him, Bob Marley was a pop star. It just come the other day, and it's like, to me, Bob Marley was the main thing. So even though he was a Jamaican, he wasn't coming with this Dennis Brown and Gregory Isaacs vibe. It was really an old school. We used to play Fats Domino and all this kind of stuff, and you know what I mean, in the house, and still have the reggae as well, because my mom's West Indian, and my brother, who's older than me, he was a kind of Rastafarian from early, so he was really into the thing from early. So we used to get the dancehall cassette, the Shakas, them, the Kilimanjaros, the Stereo Mars. Our house was full of different kinds of music. So for me to go to Jamaica and be in the foundation places where it all come from, see places like Halfway Tree, and I heard these names on the tapes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Jungle, Rima, Tivoli Garden. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, that's Tivoli Garden, That's Alman Town. I heard some guy mention that one time. Oh, we're in St. Elizabeth now. We're in Junction. We're in Cross. You know what I mean? And these places, I was like, wow, I've heard of all. House of Leo. I've heard of this place. I'm actually in House of Leo now. Proper clubs. There's Skateland. I went Skateland and Cinema 2. And these are places that we heard on tapes. So to actually be there in the actual country where it all come from was definitely spiritual, like a spiritual journey for me personally.
Absolutely, can certainly relate to that. It feels as though wherever you are from the Caribbean, that when you go to Jamaica, it's like you're going home. And the welcome that we received from local people, it was just beautiful.
It's overwhelming. You see the Jamaicans that come to England, they're not the right ones. The real Jamaicans stay in Jamaica. I'm sorry, no disrespect. It's the foreign mind ones who come here and look money and da, da, da. But the ones who are not materialistic and are really just deal with the nature, that's where you find them in Jamaica. When you go to Clarendon and these places in the countryside and stuff, and you just sit down and reason with some people, sometimes I'll get up in the morning and go for a walk. I think I was in Mobay at that time. It was at Mobay, Ochi. And I got up to go for a walk, and I just see a Rasta man in a boat, and two we just start talking. I say, "What your name?" He say name King Shango. It's all right, King Shango. My name General Levy. And we just start talking, and we go to the boat, and then get the herb, and we go to the boat and go ride out. Me, him, and I was with a lady friend at that time. And we went out in the boat and just reasoning and talking. And I don't even know the guy from Adams, you know, but he become my bona fide friend. And that's what I like about the Caribbean. The whole Caribbean is like that. But Jamaica particularly was really like a movie to me. You know what I mean? Jamaica and New York, Jamaica and America, because I've grown up with these two in my face and my ears a lot. So to go to these places was surreal. And you know what, to be honest with you, America was even more surreal for me. To hear taxi drivers, "Hey man, I thought I'm in a movie here, man. This guy sounds like, he's so funny." He's like, I should have taken that. It was so much moments in Jamaica and America that I just like movie material. I love it. I loved it.
It sounds fascinating. And do you think there will come a time when you write another book or update the one that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about updating it. I mean, I left out quite a lot, or I might just do a screenplay of this and add more into it. When the screenplay comes out, there will be extra bits, extra detail in it. I'm quite happy with the detail in there. I think I got like maybe 80% good detail of my story, because there's still little bits I missed out and little bits that but I'm still but for my first attempt, I'm really happy with it. I think I've got most of my message across of my story. I know it's a bit confusing parts about that, because I had to go on the radio recently and talk to Eddie Nesta, and he was a bit confused about the extended family bit. You know what I mean? Where did dad come from? How did that work? Because my mum got married to other gentlemen, and dad still came with us. So no matter where we got, dad come with us. He was like, this old man, come with us. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. To us, that was cool. Dad was just like, you know. So there's bits of the book where people might say, "Wow, that's a bit of an extended family, strange family setting there." But that was how it was, you know. Dad was my guardian. So I'm really happy with the detail and explaining where I get the Jamaican side, why I'm so patois orientated as well, you know. Explain especially about my biological father, who wasn't really I've seen my biological father 2 times. So it's good so people understand what made me the general I am, you know. So I'm happy with the book, and I've got other things I would like to talk about as well in life. Like, for instance, you know, the relationship between what the West has done to Black people. I would like to talk about how the influence of the West has influenced us for the good and the bad. You know, like, for instance, the family setting. You know, how they pushed the single mother, this independent thing, and now look what trouble we're in now. You know, let's say how, you know, it used to be king and queen. You know what I mean? Them days, you know what I mean? I know that Black Panther days was not as romantic as they explain it, but there was a certain unity back to back that we had. And where has that gone? And how the media has kind of dissolved us, and the way that they've made us look in the media as gangsters, thugs, weed smoking, pimps, all that kind of the black, what they call them, black exploitation days, how they used that to influence our people. So basically, I would like to write a book. I'm thinking about how to tackle it at the moment, of how to explain, get that out. Like, for instance, at first it was it had disco music, and then that kind of disco was happy, you know, people go there, but there was a lot of drugs around that scene as well, and that disconnected us. And then they came in with the soul music, which was good. We had a lot of soul music, but then they came in with there's nothing going on but the rent. And that's where the arguments start. You gotta have a J-O-B. And then they come in with the, I don't want no scrubs. And then the bugaboo, and what's your name, TLC and all this, yeah. TLC with them scrubs and all them tuning. I remember there was a moment when, particularly in my childhood, in my teenage childhood, when the week it changed for us and my crew. Like, we used to go to clubs and meet girls, and they was to be easy to talk to, really nice and polite. There was nothing really, you know, too conflicting. It was quite easy to strike up a conversation. But after certain music began to come out, things like TLC, the Scrubs, Destiny's Child with Bugaboo, girls used to use that on us in the clubs. I don't want no scrubs. Scrubs is a guy can't get no love. So that time, you could have been there 2 weeks ago on low budget. I still got through in a conversation with a girl. But after them tunes to come out, your pocket was under pressure. It's like if you're not spending no money at the club, if the champagne ain't flying around, if you ain't got no big chain on, you ain't got this, you ain't got no car, you ain't getting no love, you know? And it was a fascinating, and I remember exactly when that changed, you know what I mean? Because we used to have, first we had the Faith Evans, and then they came in with the Mary J. Blige, who was just like, she represented the strong black woman. And I'm looking back still, Mary J. Blige was always sad, all sad songs still, but they had a good beat behind them still, you know what I mean? But she was talking something which she kind of got away with it. So I'm just the way that they used certain music to influence us, you know, to change, to bring argument between black man and black woman, you know, because we used to have the love songs before, Luther Vandross and them thing there, and Marvin Gaye and them thing there, and that was everybody in love, you know, in the club. It brought a good energy. After in about the early 90s, the energy changed in the clubs. It became very materialistic. What have you got? You got to have a house. You got to have that. You got to have that. And it came, that started from you know what I mean, you gotta have a J-O-B, and Janet Jackson with she came with a song. She came with Janet Jackson to come with one as well, you know. She came with one that was like as well, you know. It was like, so when you're hearing these songs in the clubs, it was affecting the mood of a lot of, you know, people, you know. So I'd like to explain. And then you had Oprah Winfrey saying she's independent woman. She not no man, you to see her there. You know, there was no king next to her. There's some guy, what's his name? But he was always in the deep
Stedman.
Stedman, yeah. But it was always like a man back there, you know. They pushed that kind of, I don't need a man. And then they came with this thing in the UK where if you wasn't getting along with your partner, you could just make a phone call and they would give you a flat, benefits, everything. But you had to say that's when you're pregnant, because they even tried it on my first baby mother. They said if she said that she didn't know who the guy was she got pregnant from, she doesn't know where he is, they said, okay, as long as you stick to that, we will give you a flat. And she stuck to that. And then they got the child support agency on me for 7 years. They chased me down. Child nearly made me go mad. Every time I make a money, them take it. It was like really crazy. So that was really, I didn't put that in the book. Child support agency was nearly pushed me over the edge. Child support agent, horrible organization, no mercy. So that was the kind of stuff that brought friction between partners, because that time still I give my baby mother money. She's getting money in her, but it's not, the child support agency don't care. They want that. Even though you're giving her more than they're asking for, you ended up having to give her money because she needed it whenever she needed that out of it, and these people chasing you for 7 years. So that was a horrible time as well. So these are the kind of things that kind of push couples apart, you know, push relationships apart, because often when these people are chasing you, you think, I wonder if she's involved in it. I wonder if she's supporting them. I wonder if she, you know what I mean? Because she did a nice house. So it brought a lot of friction into situations. So I would like to write a book explaining how they neatly used music and entertainment, this thug life thing, this Tupac business, this tug life. Tupac was an actor. He wasn't really a thug. He come from a good house. So I got to acting school.
Yes, he did.
He went acting school, which, he's a posh youth to go acting school. That ain't no real thug. Real thugs don't go acting school. So they used that to come with this thug life. So every woman wants a thug now. If you're name Tupac, if you don't have tattoo and all them thing there, you know what I mean? It went that kind of direction. It really had to be a thug thing. I remember this girl said to me that she would give me a date when I do a thug video, when I got a video full of man. All right, when you going to do a thug video, you know what I mean? I said, no, I'm not doing that, you know what I mean? Man, do my, you know what I mean? But it's like she had to see this image of thuggery. And then now look at the results are in. Look at the kids, the boys walking around now. They've got 2 earrings in their ears. They will stab you for anything, and it's just a hot head thing. And these are the results. And I think that's because they got the black man out of the house. I mean, it takes 2 to grow a child, you know. And sometimes the man would put down certain laws. It might seem strict, but in the long run, he was right, you know, because he see things where sometimes the ladies, with respect, sometimes women will let things slide, you know what I mean? They'll let things slide sometimes, and, leave him with his 2 earrings. All right, if he's got his, leave him, let his brief hang out. It's okay, it's all right. Man, pull up your trousers, boy. Pull up your pants. You're not going out the house with your pants, you know what I mean? And then, so they got rid of all of that. And these are the things what I would like to kind of be able to break down neatly, but without being disrespectful to women or to men. You know, just saying how the system they've used the television and the media to break up the king and the queen element and the powerful black family, because they didn't do it to Indians. Indians are still there. Indians are still, they didn't come with no gangster Indian or a madman, and Chinese as well, still have their culture, still have everything blessed, but they trouble black people and use us to push this narrative, you know, and now everybody thinks that we're crazy and we're thugs and we smoke weed and just have loads of baby mothers, you know, and so when I went to China and Japan, I spoke to some people off the air and they think black people are a waste of time. Chinese people think that we should be exterminated. We're just a waste of time. We just want to have party and drink and smoke. That's the picture that they have of us. Because that's what's being painted, and Hollywood and the media have done this. So I'd like to explain to the kind of things why black people are in this spot that we're in now. We came into this Western hemisphere and how we got blinded by the glitz and the glamour of the Western hemisphere and the results which have come out now.
That sounds like an amazing project if you're able to get through with it. And you have to promise me that when you do publish that book, that you'll come back on the podcast and talk through those issues as well, because I think it is a necessary conversation for us to be having as well, in terms of cleaning house and setting boundaries and how wayward our young people, some of our young people have become as a result.
Yeah,
I wanted to move on a little bit because I don't want to expose too much from the book, because I want people to go out and buy it. But there was one story that intrigued me, and that was your BBC One Extra video, but that I enjoyed all over again, and especially the high energy that was in the room. I would have loved to have been there. You should have looked me up and let me be there in the room. But please tell me, how did that come about? Because you weren't going on that particular show, were you?
you know what? A lot of people have kind of been interested in this story. Yeah, what it was, I went there to promote another song called Pull Up. I did a song with a producer called Sticky. The song was called Pull Up. Pull up, pull up. We did a video for it, and we were about to launch the track. So we got an invite to One Extra to talk about it. So we were sitting in the foyer now, just sitting out chilling, waiting to see when they're gonna call us in. At that time, I'm starting to see all these guys I see on Channel U come through. I'm like, that's what's his name? That's Dizzy Rascal. That's Lethal B. Wow, that's Jammer. This that's, I'm gonna know that one day. Oh, yeah, that one there, JME. And then I'm like, okay, cool, man, do your thing. And the men on this walk past, and one or two of them might give me a little yo, and they went into a certain studio, and they were getting on with their thing. Going on. I said, all right, they're doing their thing in the room, go on in with their thing as they do. I'm saying, yeah, man, go on. And so I'm waiting for our people to call us to go in our studio now. Where are we going to? A lady come out of the same studio where the boys were and said, hey, General, you wanted in that studio, in that room. What? For what? I come to, all right then, cool. I just forget about our plan was aborted straight away. I didn't even question it. She said, all right, let's go in there. So I went in, she brought me into the room. I stepped into the room, is what everybody saw. And as I stepped into the room, Mr. Jam said, yo, General Levy, boom, put on something, and I went straight in, and the rest is history. It was just like a total off the cuff, not planned. I was going to go and talk about something else, but I think what we did in the end was better than what we because I actually chatted Pull Up. I did chat Pull Up. The first track was Pull Up, Pull Up. So they did give me that courtesy. I did get to sing my new song, but then it went into Incredible. But I didn't actually get to do the interviews that I thought I was going to do with the interview, but I ended up this freestyler with all these legends. The young
I'm
legends.
telling you, I've got goosebumps from you telling that story. I really, really have, because it was absolutely amazing, and it's all about being ready, isn't it? And staying in the state of being ready, so that when that call comes or that opportunity comes, you were just on it straight away, in control of it straight away.
The thing is, I didn't want to go to the studio that day. I didn't want to go because I was on a mood like, One Extra for the youth, them and them grime and them jojo business. What them child, let them go and do their thing. And my missus was like, go, man, you have to go. You've been invited, go. I was like, boy, I don't really want to go, All right, sure, I'm gonna go. And I was late. That's why I was a bit late, you know what I mean? So I didn't even want to go that day. My missus pushed me out the door. And I think my manager at the time pushed me out the door and said, yeah, let's go on the phone, let's go. I said, all right, I went. So I didn't even really want to go because I didn't really care for it. I thought One Extra, sure. It's not Radio 1, it's One Extra. But One Extra became massive. So it was a good. I'm glad I went.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And the rest, as they say, is history. It's like you reached a whole new generation from just that one clip.
Listen, if you ever get these kind of invites and you're not sure sometimes, just go for it. Just go for it. Because you might think, what do they want with me? We have nothing to talk about. It's a different frequency. But sometimes you'll go in there and the things everything will just connect. Because I really did not plan that day. And that's one of the biggest days of my career. And my missus had to push me out the door.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I've learned from reading the book is that you change the frequency just by walking in the room. You change the energy. You could actually, even watching it on YouTube, you could see the rays of energy that came in with you, ball of energy that came in with you. I can watch that clip over and over and over again. It was that fantastic. It was that good. We've almost come to the end of our interview, and I'm going to be cheeky. I saw a clip of you singing Incredible to an Uber driver not that long ago. Do you know what the clip I'm talking about?
Of course.
Your episode is episode 10 and it is the season finale. So I'm ending with you. And I was wondering whether you could do a remix of Incredible, just a few seconds, but with me as your podcast host. So instead of the Uber driver, it will be Pamela R Haynes.
Incredible Pamela. So they select the number one presenter. Pamela Haynes just spin them like a windmill. Another interview, go tell them is you got the skill. The show won't be nice unless your name's on the bill. For when you do interviews, people's dreams get fulfilled.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm sure you could go on, but thank you so much for spending this time with me because I know that your time is very precious. So I wish you all the best for the future. I've got my eye on you. I'm going to continue following you on social media, and I hope that our paths cross again at some point in the future. But for now, thank you very much, General Levy. Can you tell I was dancing in my seat at the end there? General Levy certainly brings the energy and sends out good vibes. I hope you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. It is competition time now. To win a copy of his book entitled Incredible, simply answer the following question. At the time of the interview, General Levy had just returned from which country? A. Belize, B. Brazil, or C. Barbados? Contact me on Instagram or Facebook with the correct answer by this Friday. Good luck. Have you missed an episode of the podcast, or do you want to listen to the show again? I got you. The podcast is available on your favourite listening platforms, including Deezer, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube and Amazon Music, and so many more. Follow me on Instagram at Loving the Author to find out who I will be interviewing for Season 6. Have an amazing summer and I look forward to your company in September. Bye for now.